What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, let's get into this one. So, for me, probably the best, most competitive fight tonight was at featherweight, where we had Raymond Ford from Camden, New Jersey, defending against Nick Ball of Liverpool. And this was a fight, we're going into it. Both men had their different attributes. Nick Ball is an up close, personal fighter. He's a guy that brawls. He's a guy that has to get up on you. He has to be close. He has to be in your space. He has to be sort of in the pocket to win fights. And he's successfully been doing that thus far. Hasn't really put a foot wrong in his career as yet. So, whereas Raymond Ford, the slick southpaw, had the height advantage, reach advantage, all that good stuff. So he needed to box, as far as I'm concerned, be on the outside. But in this fight, kind of the opposite happened because Raymond Ford, he had some good success in some of these early rounds. He was able to sort of stand his ground, stay in the center of the ring, and sort of deal with Nick Ball, land some fast combinations. Nick Ball was sort of coming off second best sometimes, but he was still managing to leap in, get on the inside and rough Raymond Ford up with good combinations. He throws a good kind of screw shot, left uppercut sort of shot. He throws that a lot, and then he gets in with the arcing overhand right, and he done that quite a lot with Raymond Ford. And I felt the early rounds, they were quite close, but it was one of these things where, for me, overall, the biggest problem I found with Raymond Ford was that Raymond Ford was kind of playing into Nick Ball's hands overall in this fight. Because overall it went to Nick Ball. It was a close decision in the end. It was like 115, 113 on two of the judges' scorecards for Nick Ball. And I felt personally that you look at this fight, and the story of this fight was, it was close. Raymond Ford done well for himself. He went to the body. There was some good clear headshots from him, and he went to the body well. But the problem he had was that when Ford would have his success in the fight, Nick Ball he would sort of still stay there in the center of the ring, or stay there in the pocket, so he'd have success. Let's say Ford lands a combination on Ball. The problem he would have is that Nick Ball is just full of energy, and after you've landed your shots, Nick Ball then jumps back onto Raymond Ford and just starts going after him, starts letting his hands go and starts throwing his combinations and landing shots on Raymond Ford. So that was sort of the big problem that Ford was having. It was that a lot of his, don't get me wrong, it was close. I'm sort of with the judges, you're only talking about a couple of rounds difference there, but I think Ford really needed to sort of get on his bike and move to have success in his fight, because you have Nick Ball, who will just literally keep coming and keep pouring it on, and that's what he kept doing. He kept pouring on the pressure to Raymond Ford. Sometimes Raymond Ford could get him off and then land combinations, but it's like when he lands his combinations, back comes Nick Ball, and Nick Ball's trying to land his combinations. And even when Nick Ball's not landing shots, the fact that he's throwing so many, and it's like, even in your moments of success, he's countering you and he's coming back and pouring on the pressure, even when he's not landing, because he's just doing so much and he's so busy, and he's there and he's in the pocket, and you've allowed him to get close. That's what sort of won Nick Ball the fight for me overall, was that, that relentlessness and that pressure, and the fact that no matter what you do to him, he's coming back with more combinations. And that was pretty much the pattern of the fight. You'd have success from Raymond Ford, but because he elected to kind of stay in the pocket, stay centering, not to move back, but to try to meet fire with fire, that's where he made the mistake, and that's where he played into Nick Ball's hands, because he fought the fight that Nick Ball needed it to be. I mean, Nick Ball needed to sort of fight in the pocket. He needed everything to be up close and personal, because that's his only chance. And I would have thought that a guy like Raymond Ford and his team, they would know that going in, that, look, we're fighting a guy here. The guy's 5'2". he only knows one way to fight. He only fights one way, and he only has the ability to fight one way, and that is front foot, you know, bum rushing you with shots and landing combinations up close. But if you don't allow him to get close to you, or if you tie him up when he comes in and then you work on the outside, that's your chance. That's your wheelhouse is on the outside at long range. That's what you got to do. That's how you got to approach this. But it seemed like Raymond Ford and them, they didn't get the memo, because they, as much success as they had, and even if you want to make an argument for them, the fact that they fought Nick Ball's fight and the fact that they fought it at close quarters, and you know they although he hurt Nick Ball, I think in round 12, and you know he wobbled Nick Ball, and Nick Ball was a bit hurt, but then Nick Ball again came back with more combinations. Even in round 12, when he got hurt, he came back with more combinations, and sort of makes it look like, well, in the eyes of the judge, it makes it look like, well, this guy, he might actually be winning this round. I mean, I didn't think he won the round, but he's always throwing combinations. If you're there, if you're up close with him, if you're at close range and short within punching range, he's going to keep hitting you and he's going to keep coming. And I think because Raymond Ford didn't box and keep it long, that's where he kind of lost the fight. So Nick Ball, he won because he was just everything was done in his wheelhouse at his pace. He was allowed to get close to Raymond Ford and allowed to throw so many combinations, and it landed a lot of them. So for me, Nick Ball was the slightly busier man, and you know, he had the fight at his pace, at his range as well. So very good victory for Nick Ball. Wins it by a split decision, and once again, becomes world champion now. Deserved it in his last fight and gets it in this one. So yeah, congratulations to Nick Ball. Very good victory over Raymond Ford. Raymond Ford, he can certainly come again. And if they were to have a rematch, he better have learned his lesson, because if he fights the same way he fought this time, he loses again. So yeah, congratulations to Nick Ball. Great victory for him. And great game plan. You know, he only knows one way to fight, and that's the way that Raymond Ford fought him. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts on this fight. For me, it was fight of the night because it was competitive, back and forth, and it was probably the most competitive one of the lot for me. Let me know your thoughts, and until next time, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out.